Isn't it incredible कि how even as tired, jaded adults, some fictional series can still capture our imaginations, thrilling us the same way Lord of the Rings did or Avatar, where it appealed to our curiosity without feeling too heavy or questioning too much about the world. Stranger Things is a remarkable achievement, don't you think? Hey all, my name is Sucharita. Welcome back to my channel. We are so close to 50,000 and if you click that subscribe button, you'll be helping me achieve a major milestone. So please consider helping out. Now, let's talk about Stranger Things Season 4. चलो वापस हॉकिंस. Our friends Dusty, Lucas, Max, Mike, ये सब हॉकिंस के हाई स्कूल में हैं. 11, Will, Jonathan और Joyce कैलिफोर्निया चले गए हैं. Hopper is presumably dead. Billy is definitely dead. Steve and Robin are around as cute as heck. Definitely not a couple. Nancy Wheeler is pursuing her career as a journalist in a local newspaper. So there are enough new characters in here as well. There are Russian gods, Dungeons and Dragons club members, the stoner friend, new high school student, police department head, and of course in सबके नीचे the upside down. Each episode of the new season is an hour long, and the first two are mostly dedicated to world building. New California life and setup, Joyce's attempts to earn a living in a new city, 11 getting bullied for being different, how the kids are doing back in Hawkins, one has become a jock, the others have become bigger nerds. All of this feels unimportant because the show is picking up 6 months after the incidents at Starcourt. So not enough time has gone by for anything significant to have changed for anyone. And you know कि upside down का कोई तो रास्ता खुला हुआ है, Russians involved है, and you're waiting for all of that to begin. तब तक वो tedious हो जाता है सब. Predictable high school sports and bullying sequences are not what one comes to Stranger Things for. This is not that tiresome Netflix show Riverdale. Show me the weird, creepy other dimension stuff, Duffer Brothers. It also doesn't help that the action is in completely different locations now, so the characters don't really get to interact with each other all that much. Dusty, Lucas, Will and Mike, they're supposed to be Hardy Boys, you know, or the famous 5 types. They're solving puzzles and mysteries all together. Alag-alag, the attraction and the pull is just not the same. But having said that, all the child actors have matured into solid performers. Their work kept me entertained even when the proceedings were less than fun or novel. Millie Bobby Brown, Gaten Matarazzo lead the pack in terms of acting abilities, and the rest walk right beside them. It's delightful. And of course, Winona Ryder's rapidly changing facial expressions are always fun to watch. So it does take about 2.5 episodes to get to the good stuff. Flashbacks and backstories then begin to make sense, which is a long time the show asks you to invest in it considering the duration of each episode.
We will have the best spring break ever.
If you think about why Stranger Things originally worked as a premise, it's because it spoke to a still present childish curiosity within our minds. It took us back to a world where playing chore police in our building ka compound, it wasn't just a game to kill time during summer vacations. It was serious business. We created our own worlds, which adults found silly, but to us, those worlds were as real as the food we ate, the ground we stood on. Us conviction ko lekar, the kids of Hawkins solved mysteries adults of the town could not even comprehend, problems they couldn't predict, because the kids believed and hence found an alternate universe with monsters in it while playing chore police during summer vacations. So season 4 takes its time to get to that place, but y'all, when it does, it gets good. The seemingly disconnected and random subplots begin to merge and fall into place, making the larger arc clearer. Season arc. Even though the 3 subplots are now divided into 4, separated by actual geography, Hawkins and the Upside Down, Dr. Brenner's lab, California and Russia, they all develop individually interesting storylines which then begin to move towards a common point. The nostalgia this show relies so heavily on makes an interesting comeback in season 4 as well. 1980s ka satanic panic is written into the storyline very satisfactorily, although that's not something one is nostalgic about. The mania doesn't feel very alien today considering the ridiculous hold obviously exploitative fear-mongering organizations like QAnon still seem to have in America. So that's a statement the show is making.
Go! Drive!
We get to see the early days of the internet and personal computers and pre-Friends. Courtney Cox is on TV. Steve and Robin now work at a movie rental store, so you know all the movies that find mentions in our trivia nights now, they are referenced throughout the show as new releases. The dialogue is littered with pop culture, creating a wonderful little time machine to 1986 as millennials were beginning to come into existence. It's like googling what the headlines were the day you were born, the year you were born. I suspect this is a deliberate outreach to viewers currently in their 30s. Speaking of appealing to an older audience, the show is also gory in a fashion you wouldn't expect. It's almost horror in nature. Lots of cracking bones, distorted bodies, scary undead people. The show really leans into the darkness the previous seasons flirted with but always skirted around, choosing to focus more on the kids and their adorable shenanigans, problem-solving ways. You remember Never Ending Story? That sequence from last season, it was so cute but so dumb. I will add a trigger warning here. The very first episode has many shots of deceased children, which could be real or imaginary, that you will know when you watch, but the scenes might be unintentionally more upsetting than they are designed to be. Not to say season 4 is all dark and gloomy. Young love finds prominence, but it's not overbearing in the proceedings. Mike and Elle continue to date, as do Dusty and his long-distance girlfriend Susie. The Steve, Nancy, Jonathan love triangle and its tribulations seem to be resurfacing just as much as the weirdness of the Upside Down is. Sadie Sink as Max gets one of the most moving sequences in the show, where she's thinking about her first love and true friendships and how she has so much more to live for and be happy about. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you watch it. Overall, I would recommend stick with the show. You will have reasons not to, because for the longest time you don't know why anything that is happening. Who is this new monster? Why it is doing what it is? Why is Elle being made to go through what she is? How does Joyce suddenly have $40,000 just sitting around? And what is the whole fucking point of the Russian subplot, which thoda abhi bhi I am unsure of, but moments in the last 3 episodes are reminiscent of that same childish curiosity and problem solving of season 1, the very first thing which brought us in and promised us a great ride. Season 4 delivers, albeit thoda late. And hey, they're riding bikes again. So on a scale of 1 to 10, Stranger Things 4 is one show. Maya Hawke is a lead character in here as Robin. Another show, her father Ethan Hawke is a lead character in right now. Abhi khatm hua hai wo, he's Harrow in Moon Knight. She's also joining her mother Uma Thurman for a feature film. What a life. Actor bhi अच्छी है. Good nepotism. सब्सक्राइब कर लो मेरे चैनल को प्लीज. मून नाइट के बारे में भी बात करेंगे इस हफ्ते, ठीक है? अब आओ तो सही.